Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Peplink webinar. I'm Cassie, representing the Peplink team. Today, we are happy to introduce you the InControl, our cloud-based management system that set Peplink solution apart from our competition. So with InControl, you gain access to a comprehensive management platform that empowers you to efficiently oversee Peplink device and network from a single interface. To show you the unique features of Peplink and the benefit of the InControl for the network monitoring, so we have invited two passionate partners from our team. Stanish is our certified PCE trainer, and also Josh is our certified PCSS trainer. So they actually come from M2M, serving the Australia and New Zealand market. They start the business or start selling Peplink in the past 2 years. M2M actually has been growing per presence of the Peplink family. It is growing very fast. So we're excited to introduce them and invite them to share the opportunity for bringing Peplink to the market. And we believe many of you may not yet aware of the potential of benefit of starting a Peplink business. So now I pass the time over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie.
Yeah.
And look, what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about our experience. As Cassie introduced, M2M has been relatively new to the Peplink family. And we wanted to share with you some of our experiences of how we've taken the Peplink technology to market. And what we found at a high level, there are two groups of customers that we talk with. There's groups of customers that who have been dealing with Peplink for a long time and actually have a really good understanding of the technology. And then there is the net new customers that haven't heard of Peplink and they haven't heard of the product suite or what the technology can do. So it's a completely new engagement for them. So what our presentation is going to be today is going to be what we do when we talk to customers, predominantly new customers to the Peplink story. So in essence, how does Peplink differentiate itself from the market? And when we look at that, InControl 2 is a very, very key feature of the product suite. And our first point is, as a sales organization for Peplink, we always lead with InControl 2 first. We do not lead with the hardware. We talk about the capability of the solution, not an individual product. So let's delve into a little bit about how do we position Peplink in the market. So Peplink use this marketing slogan called that they position themselves as they supercharge connectivity. I put my own spin on it. I say to customers, Peplink provides the best internet connectivity for any point on the planet. Let me say that again. Peplink provides the best connectivity for any point on the planet. Now, I know that that is a provocative and a bold statement. So how can I make that statement? And the answer to that is very simple. Using the Peplink technologies, Peplink takes all the available WAN connections to any point on the planet, be it on land, be it in a vehicle, be it on a boat, even in the air. And it adds it or bonds it together to bring all the available WAN connections together to provide one stable and reliable internet connection. So Peplink isn't just an SD-WAN company. It's almost bolder than that. It provides supercharged connectivity everywhere. So what we'll do is take you on a journey as to what that actually looks like. I'll talk about it from a theoretical point of view, but more importantly, we're going to show you this in action and you'll be able to see how this technology can be deployed. So what does Peplink do? As I've alluded to in my introduction, it bonds together or brings or combines together all the available WAN connections that can be obtained at any point where the edge device is situated. So combination of fiber and broadband, 4G, 5G, be it private or consumer, satellite technology, be it Starlink or OneWeb, or even Wi-Fi as WAN, is you can combine all of those available WAN connections to provide a faster, more reliable internet connection anywhere. And that is the core essence of what, and the core proposition or differentiator of what Peplink does. So if we overlay various market segments and we look at the connectivity through a couple of lenses, we look at it from wireless connectivity, where at an entry level, and then there's incremental need for better connectivity, be it better, then eventually to essential or even mission critical connectivity. And then we overlay key industry verticals. What you see here is a very high level map of where Peplink plays. And the first takeout on this slide is it's a very comprehensive view of the connectivity market. Probably the biggest exception from here is Peplink doesn't play in consumer. So we're not positioning the product as a consumer-based solution, but anything from small to medium enterprises up, that's where Peplink really comes into its own. And the solution that we talk about when we talk about bonding, and we'll get into that in more detail, is the same application fundamentally, just being deployed in different degrees in each of these levels of connectivity. And we'll demonstrate this more and more as we go through the presentation. Some customers ask me when I talk to them about Peplink, they say, I've never heard of the company. Tell me about it. Peplink's been around for nearly 20 years. So it's a long-term player in the edge infrastructure environment. And then I refer them to the Gartner Magic Quadrant for SD-WAN and show them that Peplink is part of this elite and esteemed group of industry players playing in this market. So this is a document that you can refer to with your customers in detail if needed. And Peplink's position in that is strengthening over time, and I believe will continue to play a more and more significant role in providing reliable communications in the future. So what is the Peplink product suite? How does the whole stack look? Well, in the middle, you can see Peplink offers a range of hardware. So that's be it wired or wireless or a combination of both. So there is a piece of hardware that'll fit a particular environment. And today's session, we're not going to get into that. Just take it that, yes, there is the right piece of hardware that'll do the job. Sitting above the hardware is a control platform called InControl 2. So the predominant and most common deployment is the cloud-based solution. And this allows you to manage and configure and monitor your Peplink devices. It's good to note, though, that the Peplink InControl 2 can be acquired as an on-prem version. So where data sovereignty is an issue for your customers, be it in government, some military type customers, local government as well, this is a really an important consideration. So Peplink provides a solution for both of these situations. The key differentiator for Peplink is the bonding, which I've mentioned, and that is marketed under the term Speed Fusion Technologies. And the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk to you in a little bit more detail about what this is and how it works and the benefits that it delivers your customers. And it's good to note that the Peplink technology can run on any industry cloud platform, that you and your customers are using, be it AWS or Azure or whatever the case might be. So what is Speed Fusion technology? The most significant one and the key point of this presentation, if you don't take anything else away, take this point. That is WAN bandwidth bonding. And this is where you take multiple WAN connections. So you might take a fixed connection and two cellular connections, one with carrier A and the other one with carrier B. So you've got 3 active connections and you bond that together. And you bond that together from the edge device to another Peplink piece of equipment or software, a head end. So between the head end and the edge device, you've got a bonding scenario. So in layman terms, 1 + 1 + 1 will give you a throughput, I don't know, of 2.6 or something like that. There is an overhead for this bonding, but it does deliver increased throughput and better reliability to your internet connection. And the beauty of this bonding technology is that it can stand alone and the device can act as an SD-WAN for your customers' deployments, or it can slot into existing customer SD-WAN solutions and be configured in a pass-through or a bridge mode and solve connectivity for areas within the customer's existing SD-WAN where they cannot get connectivity. And so the Peplink can be used in both of those scenarios. So again, WAN bandwidth bonding is absolutely critical, and it just provides the best internet connectivity. So where would you use that, right? What would trigger a customer to say, hey, why is this important? Well, take, for instance, the Starlink phenomenon that has occurred in the world. In the last 6 months, Starlink has just taken off. And Starlink by itself is a very good WAN connection. But in isolation, it's not bulletproof. It has its ups and downs. So you can bond a Starlink, which is ultimately a best efforts network, with another best effort network, be it a 4G or a 5G. And you bond those two together and you get a robust, stable and reliable internet connection with any dropouts automatically being compensated by the Peplink algorithms that provides the bonding. So that is a real life application of where you can use bonding today with your customers. So Peplink have taken the bonding concept one step further, and they've called this dynamic weighted bonding. And this is where the Peplink technology analyzes each and every WAN link and looks to optimize the weighting or the amount of data traffic that it sends down each WAN to give you, the customers, the most reliable and fastest configuration possible from all the individual WAN connections that exist. This is powerful. And it's this technology that allows Peplink to be optimized on these new satellite-based technologies, be it OneWeb or Starlink. This allows you to get the absolute best out of these available internet connections. Another concept within the Speed Fusion smorgasbord is the idea of WAN smoothing. And the concept here is slightly different to bonding, but it's really on the same spectrum, just at the other end. And in this scenario, every configured WAN connection can be act as to send a copy of an individual data packet down each WAN link simultaneously, so that packet A goes down, WAN A, packet A goes down packet line B. But at the other end, the first packet that arrives becomes the packet that's kept, and every subsequent copy is discarded. But what this does is it provides a single jitter-free data stream where speed's not critical, but reliability is most important. And that is very useful in mission-critical M2M applications, can be very useful in broadcasting applications, both up and down. So the Peplink technology in smoothing is very, very useful. That also, within the Speed Fusion solution, you can almost set a parameter that sets a combination of bonding and smoothing. So it's almost like a continuum, and you can configure again for your optimal connection. Last but not least is hot failover. Now, this is not to be confused with industry standard failover. Hot failover has the Speed Fusion technology all running, but data is only traversing down one active link. And there's a second link active, but on standby. And if the first link drops for whatever reason, or hits whatever parameter that you set for it to trigger the alternative WAN link, it kicks in. But without dropping the session, without the requirement of having to create a new IP connection. So you'll get a continuity of service, and yet you've completely transformed the pathway of that internet connection. So this is also a very, very powerful configuration option. These individual options can be configured in isolation, or in some cases in combination. Again, a very flexible platform. So how does all this work? How does all this magic come together? So Peplink have created their own PEP or VPN tunnel between each of the edge devices and the head end, which they refer to as a PEP VPN. And the system does that, and it's very easy to configure. But once that's established, then you can turn on these wonderful configuration options and enable these features. It's important to note that Peplink solutions do behave and act like any industry standard enterprise grade SD-WAN solution. So you can configure your VPN networks, you can configure load balancing and quality of service and routing protocols. You can do all that, as well as turning on the Speed Fusion options that we've just talked about. And you can set this up to provide the optimal configuration for your customer. So how does Peplink do that? What are some of the terms? Well, we touched on some of this already. The first is the InControl 2 platform. So this is a subscription-based service that is bundled in with 1 year upfront with every hardware that you buy. So you automatically get 1 year upfront with the hardware. And this allows you to manage your platform. And as I mentioned, you have the option of getting this tool on-prem if you choose to. I mentioned earlier the concept of a head end, and Peplink offers a number of solutions for the head end. It can be another piece of Peplink hardware, but more commonly, it's a piece of software, which we refer to as the Fusion Hub. And this appliance can be deployed in the customer's data center, or if you're a MSP, you can host it on behalf of your customer. It can be hosted in your own cloud or your customer's version of the cloud, or Peplink also offer a publicly available version of that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here about it, but it is a very flexible and it's a very cost-efficient way of deploying and making the solution come together. And Peplink is a subscription-based service. So after the 1 year, you can renew your license, and the hardware warranty also is automatically renewed when you have all your product in license. So InControl 2, at a high level, is an amazing tool. The first thing that I want to highlight is that InControl 2 is designed at its grassroots, its DNA, of being customer-centric. So it's designed so that you configure the network environment for your customer. It's not, as like some of our competitors, designed around the hardware or a hardware family. Rather, it's designed around what the customer needs. And every Peplink equipment can be then applied to and managed using the once-off deployed customer configuration option. So it allows you to configure once and deploy many times. It does have SD-WAN capabilities, and it has a plethora of reporting tools that you can use to monitor and control your network. So when we look at, the zero touch, there's a lot of configuration options to make it very easy for you to configure and manage the devices. And all the policies and all the things that you need and that your customers need to manage their devices can be set up and very easily deployed. There's even features like Captive Portal, which allows for information to be presented to any new person logging onto an SSID or a Wi-Fi connection. Again, this can be configured and utilized as part of the solution. The easy way to deploy and manage the device, it's very scalable. You can give access to groups and customer segmentation, and you can give different priorities and access rights to various users. So again, very easy to deploy, very easy to manage, and make it work for what your particular customer is requiring. Each of the Peplink devices that have a modem in them also has a GPS, so you can enable this, and this gives you a lot of geographic functionality that you can use and monitor your customer's network. And there's a whole range of tools and reporting and diagnostic information so that you can use to optimize and get the best performance out of your network. Peplink also offer a version that you can download on iOS or Play Store, and you can then manage remotely the Peplink in a very, very easy way, as well as dialing in through the web portal. So let me summarize here about what's going on. What we have is an edge device that's out on site. And that device is providing LAN services, be it for LAN or Wi-Fi services for your customer's environment. And from there, it is then bonding multiple WAN connections together. Might be 2 cellular and a fixed. It could be 2 cellular and a satellite. It could be half a dozen Starlinks together. There's no real practical limit for what you can do to provide that robust internet connectivity. So between the edge device and the Fusion Hub engine that's where the bonding occurs. And then from the Fusion Hub, that can be deployed out, and the data can then be pushed out to the internet, or can go into a private network. So that's how the solution hangs together. But there's nothing like seeing it in real life. So I'm going to hand over to Satish, and I'm going to ask him to show you what bonding is all about. Over to you, mate.
Thanks, Josh. As we have seen through the presentation so far, Peplink consists of InControl 2, Fusion Hub, and devices. InControl 2 is a Peplink's cloud-based device management platform. And as you can see, once you log into it, you will land to this page. This is designed keeping MSPs in mind, and you can see the organizations and groups over here. So organizations and groups reflect roughly to accounts with customers, and groups within those accounts. Let's go on to look into one of the demo group accounts and organization and find out what it looks like. So in the organizations, as you log in and go into organization, you can see the iconography changed to orange. And that orange denotes that you are on the organization level. You can see that you can customize a logo of that particular organization and add to this particular instance of InControl 2. Overall, the organization, there is a summary that you can see, the devices that are online within this organization, offline services expired, and actual total number of devices. If you scroll down a little bit, you see the groups that would have been created by the administrator, and these are again totally towards administrator's discretion. There is no restrictions with relate to creating a group. You can create a group and add any Peplink family device into it, such as an access point, a switch, a router, and you can manage all of that from that group. If you scroll down a little towards the bottom, you see the grouping of devices within that InControl 2 organization as to where the devices in that organization are located. You can do a lot of policy-based configurations on the organization level, and it's a hierarchical model. Let's look into one of the groups and see what it looks like. So within the group, you can see the iconography change to yellow. That denotes that you are on a group level. In the group level, again, it gives you a quick summary of what devices are available in the group. And with the online, offline, as said earlier, it's not agnostic, and you can actually define any devices, as said earlier, switch, router, access point, you can control all of them from here. If you scroll down towards the bottom, again, you have a grouping of devices as a GPS enabled devices. You can see where the devices in this particular group are located. Scroll down a little bit towards the bottom, you can see InTouch. If you have configured InTouch, I'll touch upon it in a second, but if you have configured InTouch, you can access those InTouch-based devices from the group level itself, and you have some event log underneath here. All the devices are represented in a columnar format, and with that columns, you can customize those columns to view as you would like to see, such as serial numbers. You might want to see what sort of firmware they are on, and you can see that and customize the columns as per your requirement. Most of the configurations on the devices will be done on the group level. Essentially, create a template once and deploy multiple times. So you can create the template of maybe SSID, firewall rules, VLAN networks, and so on, and deploy multiple times on different devices. You can create multiple templates and add to a device, and you can create multiple templates and deploy to a large group of devices based on tags, or you can apply as a blanket to every device in that particular group. You can do the VPN configuration, the PEP VPN configuration from the group as well as organization level. And there are multiple ways of configuring the device. So one of them is template-based. The second one is bulk configuration, where you create a device template, configure the device. Once that device is configured, use that as a golden template and deploy to multiple devices in the group. If there is a specific requirement for each respective site, then we go into device IP settings, and that's another way of configuring the devices. There's also policies that you can define for the group level, such as firmware policy or reporting or notification policies, and you can apply to that group. Let's look into the device and what it's looked like. So going to device level page, you can see a lot of detail on the device level page, and the iconography changed to white. So now we have moved from orange to yellow to white. That is just a hierarchical model from organization to group to the device. In the device level on the left-hand side, you see the physical characteristics of the device, such as serial number, the model, the IMEIs of the cellular, how long it's been up for, how long it's been online for, when it first appeared. You also see the SSID configurations on it. Also towards the bottom, if you scroll down a little bit, you see the event log and the configuration backups for whatever configurations you would have done on this device so far. Towards the bottom left, you see there is a port information, and in that you can see which ports are connected. That's representative of whether it's connected, whether it's drawing power. It shows green. If it's not connected, it will just not light up of any color. If you scroll a little further, you see that there is a GPS map over here. If this is a vehicle application, in moment, while the vehicle is moving, you can see that graph play out in this particular section in real time. And any event that occurs at a particular given point in time on a particular location in the map where the vehicle or the device is, it will flag it. And that flag will show as an event here. And you can go through that location and find out if your van was down, if something occurred at that particular location where the device went offline and came back online, back again, you can identify that. It's quite a handy feature for fleet tracking of the device or the vehicles. Towards the right-hand side, you see the VLAN configurations. These are the local networks that you have configured, and also a huge amount of details available in terms of WAN configuration, such as cellular. You get a huge amount of details, such as the IP configured, which SIM card is in use, what network it's connected to, what's the APN, whether it's connected to a 5G or a 4G, depending on the hardware you have, and a list of frequencies that is active at this point in time. So currently, with that frequencies listed, it also shows you what's the quality of signal you're getting, what's the signal strength, what is the signal to noise ratio. All that information is very handy while troubleshooting and understanding whether your device is performing well or not. Towards the bottom, you see the SpeedFusion VPN configuration, and in that you have the information such as what is your head in the Fusion Hub and how this particular device is connected to it. And if you scroll down towards the little bottom, you see the actual characteristics in terms of CPU load, temperature, power consumption at this point in time, and keeps fluctuating as the router is being utilized further and further. You can also go into remote web admin directly from the platform. Let me take you to the remote web admin and find out how it looks like. So this is the local page and of the device that we can directly go into from the platform. And in this local page, I'm just going to demonstrate what the SpeedFusion technology is all about. So if you see my connection, if I have to run a quick download test, you'll see that there is about two Ethernet-based Starlink connected to this. You have 4 cellular connections inbuilt in this device, it's HT4 MBX, and you have a USB-based WAN. We have connected a 5G Peplink adapter to it, and you have a total of 4 plus 3 connections, that's 7 connections. And if I have to run a quick download test, you can see per WAN connection, I get a certain download speed. Towards the bottom, you'll see the aggregate download speed. This is the throughput you're able to achieve with these amount of links available and aggregated together. So they are bonding together to provide a bigger pipe, a larger bandwidth on this device. And this is achieved through the SpeedFusion technologies. And at any given point in time on the edge device, if you are to lose a certain connection, so if we lose, for example, a couple of the SIM cards over here, your session will not get disrupted. Your traffic keeps moving on. However, you lose a certain bandwidth because you've lost a number of links. But when the links come back on into the device, they will start participating in the SpeedFusion VPN. And you will see that the bonding starts increasing again with the added bandwidth of the links that were gone down and come back. So overall, you can see the bonding here. And similarly, this is a symmetrical link. So if I have to just cancel this particular session of download and run a quick upload, you can see that per device, you get a certain upload. And at the bottom, you get the aggregate upload. This is quite significant in terms of what you can achieve with multiple WAN links. If it's a single cellular WAN link, you can achieve only an X amount of upload. You can't reach that. And if you lose that, you lose all the connectivity. In the bonding, you can aggregate multiple WAN links uploads and actually get a higher throughput. This is significant in terms of what you can achieve with the throughput. And similarly, if a particular WAN link goes down, the session will not get disrupted, but you will lose the bandwidth because you've lost a couple of WAN connections. But when they come back on, they will start participating in the WAN aggregation bandwidth bonding, and you will see the bandwidth boost up again once they start participating. So this is a quick demonstration of what a bonding can do for you and what you can achieve through bonding. Going back, there's a couple of things that I would touch on, is the reporting of the device. The reports are available from the device level, the group level, and organization level. What I'm demonstrating is a group level. What we refer to commonly as one of the reports that we commonly refer in our presentations is the WAN quality reports. What you see from the WAN quality reports is you've got information about all the WAN connections that you can utilize for understanding how each of the WAN connections are performing. What you see from my screen is the Starlink connection. You can see there's high degree of variability in the Starlink connections. There's huge amount of latencies at certain points, somewhere, and you can identify, compare that to a cellular connection, and you will see that the cellular connection is much more reliable compared to Starlink. However, they're still best effort networks. And the beauty, and there's one point that we have noticed is when you connect two Starlinks next to each other, they don't behave alike. And you can see the second Starlink has had an up and down event in the same window that we are seeing the reports for. And the beauty of SpeedFusion technologies is that when they are all bonded together, a particular WAN link going up or down will not affect the entire connection. It will just drop out of that bonding and then participate back again when it comes online. And you can see that having a combination of multiple networks will help you have much more reliable communications and aggregated networks so that you are not losing connections at any given point in time. And your comms continue on from your remote site to your head end or to the internet smoothly. There's another feature from Peplink, which is out-of-band management, which is one of the really good feature that you can utilize for connecting into devices that are connected to Peplink. So it could be a third-party device. What we have today to demonstrate is a printer and a switch. So basically, this is out-of-band management from Peplink. Peplink calls it InTouch, but out-of-band management via InControl 2. You can connect to any device connected behind Peplink. As far as an IP-related device, it is network reachable, and you can connect to that device and make sure that you can view it or do some troubleshooting, anything. It could be a PC, it could be a HTTP-based web application, it could be a SSH-based application. You're just doing a shell login to your server, for example. You can do it from the InControl 2. And also, as I said, it doesn't have to be a Peplink device. It could be any third-party device, and you can log into it. For example, here is a switch, and you can configure that switch in case there is any additions needed or any new configuration needed while they don't have their own management platform. It could be an unmanaged switch, but there is a way to get to that switch through Peplink, through InTouch, through out-of-band management, and access it, configure it, and so on.
Thank you very much, Satish, for taking us through InControl 2. From an initial introduction, we typically don't go into a lot more detail. We do often get customers to ask us very detailed questions, and we'd go through and explain that. But as an introduction and overview, what we've demonstrated is InControl 2, how it can be used very easy to manage a network, and also showed the bonding. And people suddenly get this bonding. And I just want to re-emphasize, the bonding is brilliant when you're downloading, but it's exceptional when you're uploading. And particularly if you are a broadcaster or you are trying to get data away up from a remote location, often the Peplink bonding solution is the only thing really available that can do that in a very cost-efficient way. So it is a remarkable solution. So let me just share my screen again, and we will just quickly do a quick wrap here. So what we have talked about is what Peplink has done. But in fact, Peplink's been doing this for years and providing the bonding and the smoothing and actually providing connectivity for places that just didn't get anything, really. But in today's day and age, what's really important is reliability, because there's more and more applications, there's more, our lives just depend more and more on connectivity. So you need to have that reliable connection in all situations. Yeah, and as we reflect back on emergency services, you think about that, life-threatening, mission critical. The only real reliable connection is not to rely on any one connection. You need multiple connections, and you need them to be working and getting the best of everything that can be thrown at a particular location. And that's what Peplink delivers today. And it has the right level of devices. We've got the hardware that is suited to particular verticals. We've got devices that are created perfectly for the branch. We have devices that work exceptionally well in vehicles. And there's a maritime range of devices as well for the harsher environment. So the Peplink solution can be deployed pretty well anywhere. So that concludes today our quick summary, an introduction to Peplink, its key differentiator, i.e. why Peplink, and a little bit of an introduction into the InControl 2 platform. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat. And if you've got any technical questions or any marketing related questions, please, please ask. How does Peplink's dual SIM structure work within the devices?
So Peplink, every Peplink device that has a single radio has dual SIM. One is active and another is passive. But if you have dual radios, such as VR2 Pro 5G, for example, has dual 5G radios. In that case, you've got 4 SIM cards, 2 per radio. But at any given point in time, you can have 2 SIM cards active. So 2 active connections to cellular towers, basically could be different carriers, and 2 passive. So you can have the secondary SIM cards as a passive connection. So when the primary goes down, the secondary will take its the radio reboots and connects to the secondary SIM card. But if you have 2 active connections, even if one fails, you have that 1 minute time for it to come back online while the other continues to go on with the connection.
Yeah, it's very, very useful. And you can also optimize plan configurations as well using these tools. Well, I want to thanks everyone for their time in attending. And if you've got any questions, please reach out to your local Peplink sales team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining our webinar today. So you can stay tuned for the recording and the slides. Thank you everyone.